Welcome back, guys. I'm going to talk to you about my steps on how to move abroad. This is not my usual setting because I'm doing this unofficially. So you are still on Saira Hayati's channel and I am going to talk to you, but on a casual basis. I'm just going to talk you through some of the things that I did so you can prepare yourself starting now. And then I'll eventually put together a proper video that explains it thoroughly. So, and more step-by-step version. So the first thing that I did do in order to prepare myself for moving abroad was I had the intention, and I've had it for a really long time, and I said I intend to move away purely because of change of scene. And even though I'd embedded myself in and rooted myself deeply into the lifestyles of being here in the UK, it was time for change in my life, and moving abroad was probably the best way to deliver that. So the first thing was, in my big house that I started to declutter room by room by room, and I minimized everything in every single room. I also minimized things like direct debits, credit commitments, and everything and anything that needed to be minimized. You've got to start pulling it all in. Responsibilities that you have outside of the home, like, with parents or brothers and sisters or other children or whatever, you start to pull in those responsibilities and start loosening up and letting people take responsibility for themselves, especially for me as a mum. The next thing was deciding where to go. So you can see the other videos that I've made and what I did and where I went. I traveled first I wanted a Muslim country, for me, understandable, right? So I went to Turkey, I went to Egypt, I went to Pakistan, I went to Morocco. And then somebody said Malaysia, and the rest was history. And you can see all of that in my videos and understand why. So the next kind of steps were to minimize business, because it needs to be organized in such a way that I can still interact. So making it a little bit more remote and getting other people to take responsibility and controls. So you're giving your controls of all those things that you have in your life away to other people, dependent on how extensive your life is. So we've done the controls, we've done the minimizing. You really have to have a huge declutter. Your house will start looking very, very empty, and you'll soon realize how much stuff you've actually accumulated over the years that are completely unnecessary and you don't need them. Then business was handled. I gave control to other people. My home is now organized. My people are now organized, and my location is organized. So what am I going to do next? I traveled to Malaysia, spoke to many different people who gave me guidance on what and where and why, and then I checked it all out myself. But I've made that bit easy for you because you can always ask me and we'll give you some guidance on where to go. And we've got some great estate agents on board who will also give you that feedback and advice depending on what you want and what you need, because what I have, you may be different. You have children, you have family, you have work, whatever. Leading straight into work. I didn't actually have work when I got out there, but I did get a job. So being there is a lot easier to find work than it is to do it from here. However, you can go to JobStreet, you can go to Indeed. So wherever your location is, you can go onto these platforms and you can blanket bomb your CV to all of these employers and try and find yourself a job. My friend Sash, her son, did exactly that. He landed himself a job in Australia, which he decided he didn't want, and is now on his way to Abu Dhabi. And being a teacher makes it a lot easier. Being in media also makes it a lot easier. And if you're self-employed, you could always think about opening up a business in that location. Malaysia was easy because everybody spoke English. Some of the systems were very similar to the UK. And so very, very simple to pick up and transfer everything that you have here over there. So then came the big move itself. Once I had condensed everything down, I didn't let go of my house straight away. My expenditure for my house was around £2,000 a month, and I needed to make sure that I had some savings in place, and that's how I got by. Savings to cover the house in the UK, savings to get me a house and cover the bills in Malaysia for a period of 6 months. Visa is not a problem because you've got 3 months on tourist visa. You step out to Singapore and you step back. You have 6 months in total. So you're going to give yourself 6 months of time for you to find your feet and work out your affairs. If you are able to find an employer first, great. And if you're not, when you get there, you put yourself out and you go as fast and effective and efficiently in networking and finding people. And I have to say they're very helpful. So my house was now minimized. I'd covered myself from an expense point of view with savings. I then packed about 7 suitcases of essentials for myself and 1 child, and then I moved all of that to Malaysia. And when I got there, stayed in some homestays for the first few weeks whilst my tenancy was being sorted out, and it's quite easy to get a rental property. And I paid that in advance for the 6 months because I'd saved it, so why not give it over and just have that peace of mind. Utility bills, establishing what they were, how much they were going to cost, factored that into my savings, and had 6 months worth of living that was ready. Now, I organised myself a good year in advance of this to prepare for that journey and that 6 months. And then within the first 4, I got the job. And the good thing is that they then moved on with my visa. If you don't have savings, I guess it is a risk that you can take. And if you are able to borrow, then you can borrow and take that step. You can either wait or you can acquire the funds, whether it's friends, whether it's from a bank, whether it's from selling things. You have to have an aspiration, you have to have an ambition, and you have to have a plan. So recapping on those steps, I took everything and I put it into lists, and I ticked off those lists, and I was active on it on a daily basis, knowing what my intention was, and that was to move out as quickly as I could. I offloaded obviously some assets myself. Not everybody is going to be able to do that. So if you just have your family home, then that's the asset that you have, and maybe some savings and some possessions. So just offload and take the risk. Moving forward from that now, I have rented my house out, and there is an income from that that's going to support me, but I've got my job now in Malaysia, which also supports me. And I'm not going to live a fancy high life, but I will be in a place where I feel comfortable, and not just, and this is the biggest question that everybody says, is it forever? Is it a permanent move? Nothing is permanent. So don't ever think that you are uprooting and you are leaving forever. You're not. You're journeying. You are changing a chapter of your life, and you are doing something different that is out of your comfort zone. And you must take that step. We go on holiday all the time. You pack your bag and you go on holiday knowing that you're going to come back to your home. Well, this time, just think that you're not coming back to your home. You're staying where you are, and you're going to explore. And you're going to experience. So I guess with that in mind, whenever you have to, you will rise to it. Our parents did it. You've done it. You've done it where you were trying to find a job. When you left school, you went out there and you tried to find a job, or somebody recommended something and you made your life here in the UK. So it's no different. And the good thing is over there, everybody speaks English. Systems are very similar. Driving is the same. The houses are. The cost of living is not as high. So you can really get more for your money compared to some people where their currency works in the opposite way. Ours works in a positive. So you could come back from it and have not achieved what you wanted to achieve, but at least you tried. And at least you had an experience in life that is out of the mold and out of the norm of life as you know it, in this fixed, stable lifestyle. I was going to say rat race, but I don't want to say that, because that's what it is. It's a routine, and you need to break out of that routine. So hopefully some of this information has been helpful for you, but if you want to know more, can you please leave me a comment below so I know what kind of questions you want to know. But this is specific to the steps of making your move out of the UK and into another country, and what I did. I might have forgotten something, so if I have, please give me a reminder. If you've liked it, please give me a like below, give us a share, subscribe, so that I can produce more content to help people live their lives.